At VivaLing, a lot of us are parents living overseas or who have lived overseas. I lived in Mexico until my son was 2.5. So we do know firsthand the obstacles that living away from home brings. Strangely enough, I think it's actually easier when the children are younger. So in my case, my son picked up Spanish. His first words were in Spanish. When they're younger, they don't question; they just absorb. They take things in. It's much easier for them. So I think that there's more difficulty when the children are older. So a lot of parents will put their children in a school where they speak their first language, where they speak their mother tongue, which is great because it means that they're going to meet friends much easier. They're not going to have those language boundaries. But I think the challenges come outside of the school in the day-to-day challenges, such as going shopping, taking a bus, buying a coffee, buying a cinema ticket. This is where they're really going to need the language, just day-to-day communication. So I think that's where the challenges come mostly for children and for parents likewise. Well, it's always a difficult question when someone asks me, how long will it be until they speak this language? It's so hard to answer because there are so many variables in it. It depends how much they're going to invest into the language. There's things that can be done to speed up the process. Immerse yourself in that language. So as I said before, my son was immersed in Spanish. He lived in Mexico. All his little children friends were Mexican. His family were Mexican, so he had all that Spanish around him. If you're living away, you're going to find it much easier to immerse yourself in that language, which is great. Just by doing that, you're going to pick up so much naturally. And then you can add some structure to that to get it accurate. All right, so you'll pick up words and language, and then maybe you'll want to add some structure to it for the accuracy. So it's consistency that really is the thing. If you're consistent in your language learning, the more you invest, the quicker you're going to pick it up. So it can be a challenge keeping their first language going. So again, if I look at my own son, he was in a Spanish speaking school. He had English as well, but it was half Spanish. And when he came home, he was also getting Spanish from his dad and from his family. So it was predominantly me speaking English, which was great because he was growing up bilingual, but probably erring towards the Spanish side because he had all that around him. So it can definitely be a challenge keeping that alive, especially if they're going to that school and everything. So likewise, while you can immerse your child with DVDs, songs, materials with the new language, I think it's just important to do it with their first language as well. Teenagers, especially if they are studying for GCSEs and A levels at home, that can be a really difficult time because they're big exams and they need some knowledge behind them. Um, I tried homeschooling my son through COVID. It wasn't the best of times. I feel like I'm a good teacher, um, but teaching your own children is a little bit different. There's a certain rebellion there, like, "Mum, you're not cool." I'm like, "I am cool, really," but they won't believe it. So actually, we do have some teachers, some coaches at VivaLing that are living away, and their children are taking language lessons in their first language just to keep it alive and to make sure that when they do go back, they're going to be on that level, especially with the exams and stuff, as the other children. So it is important to pay attention to make sure they're getting the right balance. So yeah, it's absolutely important. Well, it would be such a waste to lose a language, and unfortunately, if the language isn't practiced or used, it will go rusty. You'll get it back eventually, probably, but if the more you practice and the more you stay on top of it, the more you're going to retain it. So again, things like DVDs, songs, trying to immerse yourself as much as possible. When I came back from Mexico, I found a little Mexican community that met once a week. So although my son was still young, would go along and would sing songs and play games. Unfortunately, when the children grew up and went to school, we didn't have as much time to meet up. So that's when my son started VivaLing classes, which is great. So again, it's just lots of games, lots of fun. And I honestly believe the more fun that you're having with it, the more relaxed you are with the language, the more you learn and absorb and use it for real communication purposes. So it's about continuing that journey, not giving up, but continuing it in a way that suits you, in a way that you're going to want to continue it as well. Ah, how can I not keep lessons fun and engaging at VivaLing? When I give a class, honestly, so many times I finish and I think, oh, I'm not sure who had more fun, me or the students. It's so much fun, honestly. Toys, games. I've got a bunch of realia in my office. Props that I get out. Um, if my student likes Harry Potter, we're going to just talk and chat and play games and listen to music and do things on Harry Potter. If they want to talk about the football, we're going to do that. It's what they are interested, what they're loving, and hands down, I'm going to love it too, because I feel like if you've got a passion for something, you're really going to engage in and you want to communicate. And one thing that I really love is when I start a class with a teenager and they're sitting in front of me like, oh, my mum wants me to be here. Oh, I can't believe I'm here. This is gonna, and within 5 minutes they're going, oh, this is all right, isn't it? And seeing that transformation and going, yeah, this is fun. We're gonna have fun, and then them going away and going, oh, was that a class? And then actually using and learning and enjoying the language. That's what it's about. So yeah, classes, yeah, can't not be fun and engaging. It's not possible. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think mums do what mums do and they put their children first. They think of their children. What can we do for the kids? What can we do for the kids? And they put themselves to the back of the queue. Um, And a lot of problems that the children are facing are exactly what the mums are going through and dads. Um, but where the children might have that school system and friendship around them, it can be a lot more difficult for a parent because when you're in your 30s, 40s, you can't just go to someone and say, will you be my friend? It doesn't work like that. I wish it was that easy. And you do find situations where your children are coming home and their language journey is going beyond yours. And you're starting to have to rely on your children for translations and explanations and that communication. So, and that can make the parent feel a bit awkward. It can be fun at first, but then after a while, we need to stand on our own 2 feet as well. We live for our children, but we need to live for ourselves as well. So, absolutely, that can be a challenge. So, getting yourself out there and involved in any sort of community events, I think, is a great idea to do as well. Put yourself first for once. VivaLing, as corny as it is a family. I hate saying it because it's so corny, but it's an absolute family. Our coaches are just absolutely wonderful. They're passionate. They're educated. They know what they're doing, but they're passionate, and they all have this philosophy, the VivaLing philosophy about them, where they know it's about communication and about enjoyment and about the child. Okay. So it's not about 30 children. We need to finish the book. We have to do this by this deadline. No, 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 no. It's going with the child, with their interests at their speed, and making sure that they get the most out of everything. So VivaLing coaches, passionate, energetic, educational, care, lots of love, lots of passion, yeah, and lots of personalization. So at VivaLing, we have lessons in English, French, Spanish, German, and Mandarin. We teach children from as young as 3 years old right up until adults. We have simple conversation classes, we have exam preparation, we have specialized courses for adults doing specialized exams as well. Um, Basically, what we offer is what you need. So you tell us what you need, and we will tailor something to meet you and your preferences. Harry Potter, football, rugby, interviews, anything.